We're going to continue on the next step with pensions. It's something that a lot of people, they've got it at the back of their mind, but they never actually start one. Did you start a pension? No. Was there a reason?
I've come from.
'Cause you were employed, weren't
I was
you?
employed from social services. I was employed at social services.
So have you got one with them?
Nope.
No.
I've never took a pension out. Never took a pension out.
I thought they would automatically put you in the
No,
scheme.
no, they don't.
Don't they?
No, the council, local authorities don't.
That's weird, that.
No. So I've got no pensions whatsoever.
I'm sure my dad had a pension.
Was that with the council?
He worked for, he was an escort officer
Right.
for the council.
Yeah.
So he would take troubled kids,
Yeah.
troubled people
Yeah.
to and from wherever they were
Yeah,
going. It
yeah,
might be
yeah.
the mental hospital or whatever it was.
Yeah.
He would pick them up and take them. And he definitely had a pension.
Oh, did it? Right.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Well, that's really weird.
It wasn't an automatic thing. You could
Yeah.
opt in or opt out.
So, therefore, that's something to learn straight away, isn't it? Somebody's learned something now by watching that.
Yeah.
You need to check whether or not your employer has got you in a pension. I think you've got to have some sort of pension now. I think it's changed.
Oh, I say,
I think
right,
so, yeah.
right.
But we're concerned obviously with the employed, but also we're more concerned with the self-employed. This is what it's about. And what happens is people tend to say, oh, you can't get at the money. That's why I don't go into a pension. That's one of the reasons. That's what they always used to say to me. And the other thing is, when you say to them, at what age would you like to retire? 99% of self-employed people will say, I'm not going to retire.
Right.
So there's two excuses that they use straight away. But what I always used to do when I sold pensions was say to people, that's not the question. The question is, at what age would you no longer like to have to work? And that's a completely different question. And you find when you ask that, they go, oh well, yeah, it would be great if I wasn't working at 55, wouldn't that be great? So then they've told you at what age they want their pension.
Oh, right, okay.
And that was the best way of selling a pension. And then trying to convince people that if they put in the minimum, and I think in the 90s, I think it was about 20 to £30 a month on an escalated basis. In other words, you say to them, start at the 20 and it goes up by 10% every year. So the following year, it's £22 a month and it goes on. If you did that on an escalating basis, went a bit Bond there, didn't I?
Yeah.
You'll find that when you reach your retirement age of 65, that on a reasonable amount of growth, you'd have nearly £1 million in your pot. If they started at the age that they could start, which I'm not sure, I think it might have been 18 then, it's a long time ago. And if you consistently did that with a reasonable growth, you could be a millionaire at 65. So that's another good reason for doing it.
It's 67 now.
67 now.
Yeah, 67. They keep changing that that
And
boundary.
it'll be even more. But the other thing you can do with a private pension, and then you could write it to mature at 50. So that meant you could take your private pension at 50. I think it's 55 now, and I haven't checked for a while. But what that actually means is, if you've got, say, accumulated 100,000 in your pension by 50 or 55, whatever age it is, you can then take 25% of that out at that age, which means you can withdraw 25,000 when you might be in a really good state. You might want to improve your house, you might want to buy another house, or like I did, you might want to buy a piece of land and build a house. So I was able to take that out of my pension and put it towards buying a piece of land, which I probably wouldn't have been able to do if I hadn't have had those savings. And you can't spend it before that age. So that's the good thing about a pension. Whether or not the current government will decimate all that, we don't know. But I've got a feeling there's going to be something done. But that's government's. So it's worth thinking about it. It's a boring subject. I know everybody goes, pensions, oh yeah, that won't happen to me, I won't grow old. But you really must start your pension as soon as you possibly can with a top quality pension company. Mine was Legal and General. And do it on an escalating basis and then forget about it. So take a pension out now. The worst one for me was a guy who was a joiner, and he invited me to his house and said, I want to think about my pension. So when I retire, because it's physical, So I said to him, how old are you now? And he said 50. I said, well, I'm awful sorry. The bad news is you're not going to retire. It's too late. You can't, unless you're going to put thousands in, which you can't. You're not going to make it. Start it young, start it early, and forget about it.